People of the inner butts, welcome. What's up, everybody? I am Murpho, your host, and if you can't tell, I'm a bit of a Star Wars nerd. Now, this is my first ever vlog where I'm going to be talking about a kind of on the pulse, fingers on the pulse nerd type topic. I'm going to be talking about Star Wars Rogue One, and I'm going to be giving you 5 bold predictions about the movie, the last 3 of which are going to actually tie into episode 8 and 9 and be a little bit of a fan theory about what I think is going to happen in episodes 8 and 9 and how Rogue One is going to tie in. Now, before you guys watch this, you might want to check out MatPat's game theory if I've got a little image or video up here that he just recently did. It'll have been about, as of the time that this will go up, about almost 2 weeks old, a week and a half old or so now, where he talks about how he believes, spoiler alert, though not real spoilers because mostly speculation, that the entire cast of Rogue One, the Rogue One crew, will become the Knights of Ren. Now, that's important because that's going to have to do with what I'm going to talk about today. So spoiler warning, if you don't want any speculation about Star Wars, Rogue One, or episode 8 and 9, get out of here, get going, come back to me after you watch the movie, and then let me know how accurate I was. Anyway, on to number 5.
Impressive. Most impressive.
My number 5 prediction is that Darth Vader will kill Director Krennic. Now, we see Director Krennic, he's going to be the main villain, the main antagonist, and we'd like to believe that the heroes of Rogue One are going to be the one to get the axe on him, specifically Jyn Erso, because her father is the one that Krennic captures in order to create the Death Star. Now, the reason why I feel like Vader is going to kill Krennic because, well, I feel like Vader is going to be such a presence and being around Krennic that Jyn and Cassian and the rest of the Rogue One crew are not going to want anything to do with being near Vader, and Krennic is somebody who would find himself in this movie probably very close to Vader. I feel like what Vader is going to do is, he also has a tendency, as you know in the original trilogy, to kind of axe anybody who fails. So I believe that Vader is going to play a somewhat minor role in that he's not going to have a lot of screen time, but where we are going to see him is at the very end of the movie, for sure, where Krennic will have failed to protect the Death Star plans, and, well, Vader's going to, do what Vader does and force choke a bitch. On to prediction number 4.
Impressive. Most impressive.
Prediction number 4 is that we will, in some way, shape, or form, get a reference to Jan Ors and Kyle Katarn. Now, a lot of you are wondering, who are those 2 people? Well, Kyle Katarn is a very popular character from the Legends, which is the old stories, the old Star Wars canon, which now no longer is. Kyle Katarn was the person who originally stole the Death Star plans in the original canon through the very popular and something that I am a huge fan of, Dark Forces and Jedi Knight series. Kyle Katarn's partner in crime was Jan Ors. Jan Ors was a very skilled pilot who also happens to have a very similar look and the same initials as Jyn Erso. Now, I'm not saying that they will become these characters. Maybe they will. Maybe that's another bold prediction I can make, that maybe they survive the movie and they change their names to Jyn Erso and Kyle Katarn. But my real theory here is that when they dress up as Imperial officers to try and steal the Death Star plans or sneak in and whatever they do, they are going to choose aliases, and those aliases are going to be Jan Ors and Kyle Katarn. Part of the reason why I feel like this will happen is because it'll be a nice little nod to the old extended universe for old fans and the old Death Star plan stealing in Legends, and also Kyle Katarn was a former stormtrooper, so that's a nice little tie-in there. Now on to my big 3 predictions, the top 3, which will tie in to this theory. Bold prediction number 3.
Impressive. Most impressive.
There will, in fact, be Jedi in Rogue One. Now, it's been made a big deal that this movie, Rogue One, is going to be a war movie, that there is not going to be any Jedi at all in the film. However, I would like to disagree. I think they are going to be correct via semantics, in which we're not going to have actual full-on Jedi with full force powers fighting and using force powers and wielding lightsabers. However, I do believe that we will actually have not just 1, but 2 Jedi in the film. Now, as we all know, the Death Star is powered by kyber crystals. If you don't, well, now you know. Kyber crystals are crystals used in Jedi lightsaber to create the blade, the beam that you see. Now, we have seen one clip, actually, of Jyn with her mother. And what is Jyn doing in that clip? She is giving Jyn a kyber crystal necklace and talking to her about the Force and to believe in the Force. Now, why would she believe in the Force when this was set probably during the Clone Wars if she wasn't actually, in fact, a Jedi? I'm going to say that Jyn Erso's mother was a Jedi and that Jyn is Force sensitive. My belief is that this scene takes place when Jyn Erso's mother is leaving Jyn fleeing. She has actually gone against the Jedi Code and had a private family, much like Anakin Skywalker. Or maybe it's after the movie, shortly after the movies, and after she survived Order 66, she has settled down and had a family. However, she finds out that Vader knows that she exists, and so she leaves and flees her family behind in order to spare Jyn. Now, I also believe that it'll be extra interesting and will tie into the whole Darth Vader is a monster theory, or not so much theory, but what Gareth Edwards, the director, and the rest of LucasArts and Disney is telling us about the movie, and that Vader is going to be more like a movie monster. How would it be even more like a movie monster to Jyn Erso if it turns out that Vader was hunting his mother, and maybe we find out when Krennic comes and takes her father, that Krennic tells them that they found out where they were and that her father knew how to do all this stuff with kyber crystals because Vader captured and tortured Jyn's mother and killed her and got that information, so he sent Krennic to go get her father. Now, what would be scarier for Jyn Erso, not just knowing that Vader's this badass, but if knowing that he actually killed her mother. This would also mean that Jyn Erso is a Force sensitive, which would also probably show us, give a good reason as to why Vader could potentially be able to sense her and find her and maybe even capture her and the rogue crew. Which leads me to prediction number 2.
Impressive. Most impressive.
Which falls very much in line with MatPat's theory, which is that the Knights of Ren are in fact the Rogue One crew and that they were captured by Darth Vader. I believe that because Jyn is a Force sensitive and thus technically a Jedi, that Vader is able to capture all the Rogue One crew and thinks what better way to turn the Rebellion's victory of capturing the Death Star plans against them than to turn all of that spy team into secret operative agents for the Empire, for the dark side, and turn them to the dark side by making them the Knights of Ren. Now, I don't think they were originally called the Knights of Ren. They will very much, I believe, have been knights, either the Hand of the Emperor or maybe even the Knights of Vader, who Darth Vader and or the Emperor turned to the dark side and used as a covert secret ops kind of special agent task force for the Empire doing all the dirty work, which would explain why they're not in the original trilogy, because they were always behind the scenes. This prediction leads to my number 1 prediction and my main theory that combines the Rogue One cast are the Knights of Ren and another popular theory about Jyn Erso.
Impressive. Most impressive.
That Jyn is not only a Knight of Ren, but also Rey's mother. I know this is a popular theory that, Jyn might be Rey's mother, and that it's been like kind of like pushed aside, and Daisy Ridley kind of shrugged it off and all that. But hear me out. Now, Jyn, if she is a Force sensitive, and does get captured and taken in by Vader and the Empire, very much ties into another story from Legends, which it seems like with Force Awakens and with Rogue One, Disney is actually trying to find good bits and pieces, and even with Rebels, and throwing them into the new canon where they fit. Who is a woman who was trained by the Emperor or turned to the dark side and manipulated, and then used as a hand of the Emperor, if we use that name, which ties into the story, Mara Jade. I am going to say that Jyn Erso is the Mara Jade of this new canon. Now, Mara Jade was taken as a young child and trained to be a secret assassin and stealth operative for the Emperor. The Emperor had ordered her with his dying wish to kill Luke Skywalker. She ends up running into Luke afterwards, finds the good in him, he finds the good in her, and they actually, instead of her killing him, she decides to turn back to the light, and they actually fall in love and get married. I think this is going to be very similar to what happens in the new canon. I think what happens is that Jin and the rest of the Rogue team are going to be captured and turned into the Knights of Ren, or the Hand of the Emperor, or the Knights of Vader, or whatever you want to call them. I believe that the Emperor also ordered her and the Knights of Ren to capture and kill Luke Skywalker. However, I think that the Knights of Ren failed. They failed to capture Luke Skywalker, and Luke, at the time that they went after him, was too powerful for them to handle. The Knights of Ren fell back, and Jyn Erso actually turned on the Knights of Ren and became good again, thanks to Luke's influence. Luke fell in love with her, they got married, they had a kid, Rey, and she tried to help Luke start this new Jedi Order. However, tying back to Legends again, I believe that Rey is very much like a mixture of Ben Skywalker, who is Mara Jade and Luke's son, and Jaina Solo, who is Han and Leia's daughter. I think she is going to be Luke and Jin's daughter, but she's going to have the aspects, because she's a very strong female character and a Jedi, of Jaina. And I believe that Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, is Jaden Solo, which would also tie into another story from Legends. In Legends, Jaden Solo turns to the dark side, becomes a Sith, and actually Mara Jade tries to go and battle him and turn him back to the light. Unfortunately, she fails and Jaden kills her. I believe what is going to happen is that Kylo Ren, when he is discovered by Snoke, Jyn tells young Kylo, young Ben Solo, about the darkness of the Empire and Vader and the Knights of Ren, or the Hand of the Empire, in order to warn him. Instead of warning him, it actually gets Ben's curiosity going, because Ben was always a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Now, I also believe that Snoke, whoever he may be, I'm not going to touch that on who he might be, that could be a whole nother video in and of itself. I believe that Snoke, at the same time, who was using and inherited the Knights of Ren, or Hands of the Empire, after the Emperor found out about Kylo and knew that they would follow him, much like they followed Vader and the Emperor, especially since he was Vader's grandchild. So what he did is he helped find Ben and Kylo Ren and contact him, influenced him, introduced him to the Knights of Ren, and they manipulated Kylo and made him his de facto leader. Kylo Ren then started to slaughter the Jedi Order, or turn to the dark side. Jyn Erso tried to stop it, saw it coming and tried to stop it, and failed. And it thus became another Knight of Ren, or a Knight of Ren once again. I believe instead of killing her, Kylo captured her, took her to Snoke, and they basically turned her dark again and brainwashed her. And how horrible of a failure would that be for Luke Skywalker if his wife wasn't just killed, but turned to the dark side along with his own nephew? How much of a punch to the gut for him, for his Jedi teachings, if that were true. He lost both his wife and his nephew to the dark side under his own watch, under his own teachings. That would make me want to go into exile. I don't know about you guys. And another little thing that I think is going to happen, Kylo Ren wanted to kill, or Snoke wanted to kill Rey, and Rey was believed to be dead. Either Kylo Ren wanted to do it, or Kylo Ren ordered Jyn to do it as a final test of her loyalty. And I believe that it might very well not be Kylo, but maybe Jyn Erso, who hid Rey away. With the last little bit of goodness in her, she hid her own daughter. However, Luke and the others believe she is dead. And I believe that is why Kylo Ren freaks out so much when he hears that a Force-sensitive girl is alive. And I think that is also what you see from Luke when Luke goes to the island. I think a lot of people see this one spot. It looks like a gravestone. I think I might be able to put the image up there. I think a lot of people think maybe that's the gravestone of his dead wife. I think maybe that's the gravestone for what he thought was Rey. I think he believed Rey was dead. His daughter was killed because she had too much potential to overthrow Snoke and Kylo and could potentially turn her mother good again. So Kylo wanted her dead. So he lost his daughter, he lost his wife, he lost his nephew, and the dark side is back in full. He couldn't bring balance or maintain the balance to the Force that Vader had brought about, Vader Anakin Skywalker. Now he knows that Rey is alive, and I believe this is going to be what we're going to see in Episode 8 and Episode 9 is, in Episode 8, we're going to see the reveal that the Knights of Ren were the Rogue One people, and that Jyn Erso was their leader underneath Kylo Ren or Vader and the Emperor before that, and that she has turned bad, and that she is actually Rey's mother. And you're going to get the whole Luke, I am your father kind of reveal in Episode 8. And Episode 9 is going to be not about Rey trying to bring Kylo back to the light, but trying to save her mother from the light while defeating Kylo Ren and defeating Snoke and defeating the First Order. That would be one hell of a nice twist, and I really, really hope it happens. Whether or not Luke tells her about her past, I don't know. And that would also explain why why Rey is so powerful with the Force. Not only is she the daughter of Luke, who is the son of the Chosen One, but she also had more Jedi blood in her from Jyn, which would make her more powerful than Kylo/Ben, because Ben was born of Han Solo and Leia. He is the grandson of the Chosen One, but the son of a mere smuggler. And that could also lead into why he held such resentment for his father and was potentially able to kill Han Solo in Episode 7. Because he saw Rey, the Golden Child, the product of 2 Jedi, when he was only the product of 1. And that she was going to become more powerful and potentially the leader of the Jedi Order over him once Luke went away. So that's my theory, guys. Let me know what you think. If you think that's really possible, if your mind was just blown, or maybe Rogue One's happened and I'm completely wrong, or we have to wait until Episode 8 to see if that actually happens. If you guys have any fan theories about Rogue One, please let me know in the comments. Like this if you think this is a good theory and think more people will see it. Hit that like button and comment, because that's going to give the video more visibility. Thank you guys so much for watching. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at L_Murpho. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/RealLMurpho. And you can also find my Patreon page at patreon.com/LMurpho. Good rewards for you guys if you sign up there. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little theory. This is like the first kind of thing that I've done that's kind of like nerd-centric. I'm hoping next week to have a reactions vlog, and maybe I'll be saying, oh man, I was completely wrong. They all died. Or maybe I'll be like, I was half right, but MadPat was right. Or maybe I'll be like, yes, I told you all of you, neener. We'll find out next week. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you, and until the next video, may your nerd be true.